You've been lounging with Skipper. You've been lounging with Skipper. Oh,
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Loungin with Skip. Today I'm sitting here with a man that has, done a lot. Went from being a music entertainer to a entertainment lawyer. I'm sitting here with Otis Hayes III. I welcome you.
Thank you, Skip.
Thank you for lounging with me.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Cheers.
Cheers. I know I've been talking to you a lot about, the podcast. So
yes.
to have you actually lounging with me, and having a conversation, it's definitely a plus, and I appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me, bro.
I like to break it down, from the beginning of your beginnings, where you were, born and things of that nature. What brought you? Because you're not from out here. You're not.
No, actually, I was born here, but I grew up in Texas. Grew up in Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas.
So, yeah, went down south, man. It was quite an experience, but quite frankly...
You got the whatchamacallit?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need a coaster. You
can
put your drink wherever you want, man.
Okay. All right. So you were born in Texas.
Born out here in L.A.
Okay, born out here in what part of L.A.?
Inglewood.
You was born in Inglewood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Around off what street? You remember?
It was View Park Hospital. It doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
So mom got remarried. We moved to Texas, Austin.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah. And that's where I grew up.
How was that growing up for you in Austin, Texas?
It was, I don't think they were ready for us to move in the neighborhood. Let's put it that way. We were the only black family that moved in this neighborhood, and they let us know that we weren't welcome. We actually had the cross burning in the yard. Okay, I mean it was.
Really?
Oh man, I have experiences for you, but I have stories.
Okay.
So
coming up in that era, in that time, was that where music sparked the interest for you?
No, music sparked my interest just from my father.
Okay.
And my mom. Mom's a singer, but my dad's a jazz pianist. His name is Otis Hayes II. I'm the third. There's three of us. And I learned he's a fabulous. He just passed away last year, April 10th. And but he was my inspiration. He was my guidance. He taught me, gave me all my direction when it came to what I needed to know musically, and what I need to be achieving, and things that I should be reaching for. So he was a big influence. He worked with a lot of greats. Sammy Davis Jr. He was actually the piano player. You see him on Hello, the movie Hello, Dolly, with Barbra Streisand. He's in the band there with Louis Armstrong.
Your dad?
My dad, yeah. He's playing piano.
Wow.
In that film. On film. So, but yeah, so he was a diehard jazz musician, and eventually moved to Kansas City, and because that's where people kind of appreciated his art form more.
Okay.
People didn't really appreciate it here in L.A. Jazz. So that's where he ended up.
Yeah, coming from the Midwest, that's just like a jazz influence.
Yeah, big time. So that's where my thing was. So I kind of knew early that that's what I wanted to do.
About how early?
I was in fifth grade.
Fifth grade, so
Yeah.
about 10 years old.
Yeah, I was 10 years old, and I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to be doing music. Let's figure out what I'm going to play. I had asthma when I was young, so I tried to blow a saxophone, and the lungs didn't allow me to do that. So my mom was like, okay, why don't you play the drums? I go, okay. So I decided to play the drums, and I just took that and ran with it.
Okay.
And
so you got your first drum set. So you in the house banging on the drums,
on the drum set, making all kind of noise, constantly just playing, practicing all the time. I was in band 5th, 6th grade all the way up through high school. Music programs, band programs, doing on the drums, percussion and drums, playing in all the jazz bands. I pretty much did I was the top. I would be the number one seat in the competitions I would go to.
Okay.
They had all state competitions, all city, all district, all this, all that.
And this was in high school?
This is in high school, junior high and high school.
Okay.
So that was like my love. That's what I did. So
now, were there other kids that were like, laughing or making fun of you because you were playing these instruments?
No, actually, they weren't.
Okay.
No. I had friends that were jocks, you say, that were an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Their football team and basketball team, and they respected what I did. I respected what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was cool. And in Texas, it's a pretty football and band go together.
Okay.
It's huge down there. So
you were part of the band.
Part of the band, yeah.
During the football
games
on the drum.
On the snare drum.
Okay, snare drum.
Yeah, marching band.
Yeah.
And then I played in the jazz bands and stuff like that, and all that.
So once you finished high school, graduated from high school, then what?
Then I went to North Texas State. It was a jazz school in Texas, one of the better jazz programs in the country, such as Berkeley, Indiana. These are really good jazz programs. North Texas was par with these other schools. And I was lucky that it was in-state tuition. It was just right up the road from me, up in Dallas, near Dallas,
so
about 3 hours away from Austin.
Okay.
So I moved up there, and lived in the dorm and the whole shebang, and start really getting really serious about music composition and jazz composition and performance, and majored in jazz performance.
Now, at this particular time, what jazz artists were you listening to?
All of them, any and everyone who you would pattern yourself after. You would, as a drummer, I was listening to Tony Williams, Elvin Jones, Max Roach, Art Blakey, all the greats, Philly Joe Jones, and it just sprouted out from there.
Okay.
That was where the root came from, and then you branch out and you listen to some more modern drummers and try to pattern yourself after these other guys, Omar Hakim and Vinny Caliuta, the names are just go forever. I mean, it's just so many great drummers out there, and I listen to them all, and that's what helped me develop my technique and style. So
okay.
Yeah.
So this was going on during college and things of that nature, and so you graduated from college?
Not from North Texas State.
Okay.
I figured what I wanted to do was go on the road and play. So I guess after my third year, I started working the Dallas, Fort Worth area. I started taking less and less classes. And eventually I decided to just move out to LA.
So your third year in college.
Let's say fourth year. I was,
You were close to
I wasn't a junior, but I was in my fourth year of college.
Okay.
I should have been a senior, but
Right. So that's interesting. So towards the end of college, you said, you know what, I need to go do this.
Yep, that's what I did.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you moved out to LA.
I moved out to LA.
Now, around what year was this?
This is around 89, 1990. So when I first got out here, first thing I did was toured Europe. I went to Europe and did a Broadway play, West Side Story.
So when you got out here, that's when you linked up with the actual play.
I linked up. This was through a girlfriend I was dating at the time. Her name was Ivy Fox, and fabulous dancer, very talented. She lives in New York, and she was doing the show. And she said, "Hey, they need a drummer for the show. Would you be interested in doing it?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" So I hopped on the tour, and I pretty much toured Europe, Western Europe, for about 9 months doing West Side Story, which is. It was fabulous. I mean,
right.
Linda Bernstein. I mean, it was,
wow.
And I was the only percussionist, only drummer actually doing the show. We traveled with 14 musicians, so I had to do that whole book myself. It was
now. Were your parents upset with the fact that you left college and moved out to LA?
My mom not upset, but yeah, she would rather me, of course, finish the degree. My father, he's a jazz musician. He was like, this is what you want to do. Go play. You need to play. So he didn't. There was not any resistance from him at all. And they were together when I was a child. They had separated when I was 5.
Okay.
So, but me and my father would stay tight, stay close.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't. There was no objection to that.
So you go out here on this tour, and you're experiencing tour life, playing, percussion on this play. 9 months. You come back from that. Now what do you do?
I gotta find a job. Okay. Reality sets in.
Okay.
I'm out of work. I gotta figure out what to do.
So you would think that the money that you made from that, you kind of
no, man, you're young, you're spending money. Your days off, you hop on a plane and go to see some country or do whatever. And you're spending the money. When you're young, you're not thinking of saving and doing stuff like that. So, so when I got back here, I was doing local gigs, playing a lot of local things. Started a project with another buddy of mine. It was a rock group, a black rock group, all brothers playing rock and roll. We called ourselves Civil Right, R-I-T, Civil Right. And we were just playing around town, just trying to get a record deal.
Okay.
And
this group.
That was with this group. Okay. We had several bites. Matter of fact, we had a meeting with can't remember his name right now.
It was like a manager?
No, rapper from NWA.
MC Ren?
No. He had the beats. No.
Dr. Dre?
Dr. Dre.
You had a meeting with Dr. Dre?
We met with Dr. Dre because Dr. Dre was going to have this rock rap section of his label. And we were...
Of Ruthless?
Yeah. And we were going to be the first...
Oh, not Ruthless at that time.
No.
Death Row.
Yeah, it was Death Row. We were going to be that. We were going to be that first artist that's going to launch it.
Okay.
But at the time, I think Snoop Dogg was going through some issues. I think that they had some problems with Snoop's manager, where there was allegations of a fire, someone being shot. So the attorneys in that situation had to go deal with that. They weren't really looking at trying to draft any documents and move this thing forward. So this got put on hold.
Okay.
So that didn't move forward.
So did you ever meet Dr. Dre?
Yeah, we met. We met at his house.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was a trip, man. We pull up, and the whole house was just shaking. He has a studio in the back, and go down this long hallway, and all you hear is these beats coming out of this back room. A lot of smoke coming from that room too. So they were in there getting busy, working. So Snoop was back there dropping beats, and they were constantly just putting it out.
So that didn't pan through. Did you all continue on as Civil Right?
We continued on. My buddy Tory Ruffin, it's his group. He started the group, brought me in. He continued it. We all kind of went different separate ways, but he kept that group going. So I had to do some other things. So, while I'm doing that, here I am. I'm working at a job at Northrop Grumman at Northrop Grumman. It's a defense contracting, like Boeing.
Okay.
But Lockheed, Boeing, Northrop Grumman. Okay. Northrop Grumman is a company that built the B-2 bomber.
Okay.
And their main office is in Century City.
Okay.
So I got me a little job at the loading dock down there, bringing on all the deliveries in, controlling that. So I did that during the day. I was gigging at night. And then I got a call to audition for the Temptations. So went on that audition. They decided to use me, and I was on that gig for a good 4 years.
So you were
playing
drums
for
the Temptations.
Yes.
When they were on
tours,
TV,
film, everything. When I was with the Temps, my lineup was the Temptations were Otis Williams, Melvin Franklin, Ron Tyson, Richard Street, and Ollie Woodson.
Okay.
That was my lineup. And so since then,
what was that like?
Oh man, it was heaven, bro. I was like,
now were you still working at the other job?
No, I was done. I'm out on the road now. You know, I'm working 40 weeks out of the year. We're moving. They're out all the time.
Wow,
they're out all the time. So I was doing that, and
now I remember you know us speaking about the whole thing. When did everything happen with Ice-T?
This was after the Temps gig.
Okay, so after the Temps, 4 years you were doing that. What ended that to where that was?
I separated my shoulder, my left shoulder. Being stupid.
What were you doing?
Oh, man. Okay. This is how not to lose a gig, man. You know, so we're on the bus. I think we're going from Tennessee to Detroit or something, getting ready to play the State Theater. And it was late at night, 3 o'clock. You know, everybody, the bus stops, people get out and stretch and stuff. So me and the guitar player decided to have a foot race.
Foot race, okay.
Yeah, you know, we up. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, so... You know, we went to get some exercise, and he started, you know, hollering and screaming like he ran track in high school and how fast he was. I said, okay, well, let's see what's going on. So we decided to have a foot race. Bass player Kerry Term is at the end. You know, he holds his hands out.
Yeah.
So we do a little 50-yard dash, and you know, of course, I beat him, but I couldn't slow my feet down. I went tumbling on the asphalt.
Really.
Went tumbling, tried to roll, figured I'm going to roll through this and not just fall on my face. So I'm going to try to do a little tumble, right? I landed right on my left shoulder, and I tried to get up. I got up and I said, I won. I lifted my right arm and went up. I tried to lift my left arm. It wasn't moving. Wasn't moving. I was like, oh, okay, something's wrong. And then it started hitting me. Oh, shoot, I can't play. I can't play the show. So they had to get a sub drummer that night.
Wow.
To come in there and play the show in Detroit. You know, here they are, Temptations going home at the Fox, I think, we're playing. And I couldn't play the show because my shoulder was in a sling.
So you had to go to the hospital?
They dropped me off at the hospital emergency. And they pretty much said, we'll see you later.
For real?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they said, go. We'll fly you home, go home and rest up. And
we'll see you later.
We'll see you later. Well, the see you later never came.
Wow.
So you just keep on staffing. They kept the cat they were using, and they said, no, we're just gonna keep you know, Buster. Everything's cool. So okay.
Well, you know, you had your 4-year run.
I had a 4-year run. It was good. I mean, you know, it was long enough being out on the road that long, man. You know.
So okay, that's crazy. So to come back from that, you got well. Now you're like, what now?
So run now here, you know, civil rights. Me and Tori, we're out there trying to bang it out, doing the black rock thing. We got the rock group kicking. We out there.
Okay, wow.
We out there, and so we're playing these same shows with Body Count, Ice-T and Body Count, and these other black rock groups like Living Color. And it was like they started this group, this coalition, the Black Rock Coalition. Okay. And so, you know, so we can just kind of all be in this whole thing together. So we would do shows up and down Sunset Boulevard, you know, around LA.
Every night?
No, not every night, but, you know, occasionally. And eventually, you know, so I started getting up in that little camp.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's when... So Beatmaster V was the drummer for Body Count, Ice-T. He passed away from leukemia. And when he passed away, they needed a drummer. They needed somebody, a black drummer who played double bass, who played that rock double bass style. And I was doing that. And it was quite naturally that I fell in place. When Ernie and Ice asked if I wanted to join the band, I didn't hesitate. I was like, yeah. I mean, it sounded like a lot of fun. You know,
so what was it like meeting Ice-T?
Oh, Ice is cool, man. He's a straight shooter. You know, he'll tell it like it is, and you know, no frills, no this, no that. It's just straight up. Like, this is what's going on. And yeah,
this was after New Jack City and
oh yeah,
all that
definitely. This was back in 1994. 94, 95, so around there.
Okay.
That's when I joined Body Count.
Now, what was the experience like touring with them and going on the road? And
Yeah, it was.
were you a part of their? Did they make any records?
Yeah. Yeah, I did one record with him. Can't think of the name of it right now. But I've got one song on the record. So yeah, we would write together. We would get in that studio and we pretty much just live at the studio and just start writing songs. That's what we do. And Ice at this point was I think maybe about a year after I joined the group. He got the gig with Dick Wolf and Law and Order, and he's like, fellas, we might not be touring all year long. We might just be touring in the summer because I got to take this gig. Dick Wolf offered to me. I'm going to take it. So that's his day job. He figured he'd do that. He let us know, and we're like, cool.
Yeah,
do what you got to do. He's been there ever since. I think they're in their 20th something year.
Wow.
So but man's got to do what a man's got to do.
So at that point, you were like, okay, that's pretty much a wrap.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. We're still playing. I mean,
you're still playing?
Yeah, we're still doing it. We were writing during the year, and then when Ice was off, we would go tour, and they're still doing that today. I think just this last year they were all doing a couple of tours just during the summer of August. So I did that for quite a long time. I think, God, up until I decided to change gears.
Now, when you switched from rock, what got you back into doing, when you got to working on your album? I know I'm kind of maybe skipping some years.
Yeah.
In between that.
Yeah. So after Body Count, I just started trying to.
Well, for one, what album were you on that the song came out on that you was a part of? You know the name of that album?
Yeah, let me pull it up. Tune's called
just so that people that are listening that are like, oh yeah, well I had that Body Count album.
Yeah.
Find out what's what.
Yeah, let me see if I can remember that.
I'm glad you all are tuned in to Loungin with Skip. This is episode don't know yet, but okay, so yeah.
So this is the Violent Demise album.
It's from what now?
It's called Violent Demise.
Violent Demise.
Yeah, The Last Days. Yeah.
So it's on that album.
It's on that record.
And the name of the song is Violent Demise. That's okay. So on that album, the name of the song is called.
Well, let me see. The tune I co-wrote is called. Dang it. Yeah, you should have reminded me, man. Before you're gonna ask me all these questions, man. This was a long time ago.
Okay, well look.
I'll
you
text
was on
you
the
that.
Body Count album.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. It came out. It was successful. It did good. Yeah. Okay. So after that happened, that album came out. You all were doing tours. Then what switched gears? What happened next? Where things switched?
Once Ice decided to take that gig with Dick Wolf with the Law and Order gig, things slowed down. So obviously I had to figure out what I needed to do. So I went back to my roots, my jazz roots and stuff. I was gigging around town, playing with lots of different people. Regardless. Okay. So I decided to just put on my own stuff. Over the years, I've been writing my own music, and it's been on my little recording, my little what did I have?
Like a little 4-track?
4-track, little 8-track. So I decided after a while to just put all the stuff together and put a record together. So it was smooth jazz.
That's the one that came out?
Yeah.
What
Self-titled.
What year was that again? Right there.
Self-titled record that came out 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
So and that's called Otis Hayes III.
Yeah, that's self-titled record.
Okay, and that's a good album because I remember when you gave me a copy of that album, and I was bumping that album. This was back in 2011.
Yeah,
I was playing that album. For a good week. The CD in the car.
Yeah.
So that's like a soft jazz. Now that album was on soft jazz
radio stations
all across the world.
The wave all across the world. Yeah, a lot of internet radio, but yeah, it had world play everywhere. So
okay, so you were receiving you were getting royalties.
Royalties. I still get royalties from that, right? Yeah, from that.
The royalties. Okay, so when you got to with that was the first project that you worked on for yourself to really get into the business side of things.
As a writer, as a songwriter, and just to get in there,
and actually be like, okay, well, how can I, gain as much money residually as I can from my own work,
absolutely,
to the fullest, and that's where the idea popped in your head to say, something, maybe I need to go into entertainment and work this business for other people the same way I worked it for myself. And that's where you had the thought of becoming an entertainment lawyer.
Well,
this is how
it happened.
Okay.
I was coming home from a gig, San Diego, playing a wedding.
Okay.
Still had my little tuxedo suit on, and driving back with my little $250 in my pocket, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, is this it for me? Is this where it ends? I mean, I got to figure out. I can't just be doing this all the time. I got to.
So you were doing gigs at weddings?
Weddings, corporate gigs around town, and a little change here and there, and it just wasn't going anywhere for me. It wasn't satisfying for me. So, I had a child at that point. My daughter was born, and I needed to look at my future and her future. And trying to see if we can, make sure I had some money for college for her and this and that, So it just hit me. I'm like, man, I should get on the other side of the business. I mean, that's not as an entertainer, but maybe a manager, an agent, or something. So I just said, well, hell, let me just do entertainment law, because what piqued my interest was when we got signed, when Civil Right had dealings with some labels and what have you, and then I was in another band that had some dealings with labels. We were called Seven's Door.
What kind of dealings?
We had a memo deal with Capitol Records. It was 7 guys. The band was called Seven's Door. It was pop. It was pop music, I guess, soul R&B pop. The 3 singers in the group were fabulous. These guys were 2 twins, Troy and Todd, and one other cat named Michael. These 3 guys, they were the backup singers for I'll get that name in a minute. But these guys are fabulous. So we put this band together, and we had fabulous musicians, and we got a deal at Capitol Records. And it fell through. But during that dealing, watching what the lawyers, the traction that they had, and the work they did, and how they just appeared to me, was attractive to me. I was like, man, that sounds like something that I would like to do. Be able to help people, negotiate deals and kind of know the business and guide young bands and what have you. So I figured when I was driving home that night, I was like, man, maybe I should just go to law school and be an entertainment lawyer. It just popped in my head. We don't have any lawyers in my family. There's nobody. My uncle was a doctor. My other uncle was a preacher, but we didn't have any lawyers in the family. So, but I decided to do that, and I started the path to law school.
On that day.
And that day.
Do you remember when
that path started with, okay, first I need to figure out how to get into law school, because I didn't graduate from college. So I had to figure out, okay, I probably should get my undergrad first, finish it. So that's what I did. I went to CSUN, Cal State University, Northridge.
Wow.
Did about 1.5 years with this with a discipline called Music Industry Studies.
Gotcha.
Which was perfect. It was a launching pad into the legal side of the business, the administrative side of the business. All right, licensing, copyrights.
So you were able to transfer your credits from the other schools.
Yeah,
and all that?
Everything from North Texas credit transferred over.
Wow.
So I only had about 1.5 years to do. Did that, then I took the LSAT, Law School Admissions Test. that was a struggle. It was a struggle all the way. Just even going back to school to finish my undergrad was a struggle.
Right.
So, but I did it, and I stuck with it, and took the LSAT, took some coaching lessons and classes to just try to master that exam, and I got a decent enough score to get into law school. I went to the University of West LA, and it was a great school. It catered to more mature students and people that were already established in their jobs that wanted to go back to school to get a law degree. And it was easy for me because they had 2 campuses, and it was easy for me to take classes either during the day or at night. So they had night classes and day classes. But when I applied to the school, I thought I was going to learn entertainment law. I thought, okay, I'm here. I want to be an entertainment lawyer. Little did I know, once I got up to that big mountain, you need to learn. They teach you the law, all of it, all 14 subjects. So, so I didn't know that, but I figured, okay, I'm here. I got in. I'm just gonna go to law school and get my law degree.
Wow.
So
it's much more than just entertainment.
Way much more. It was the law. So 14 subjects.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long was it? So for school, that was how long?
I did it in 4 years.
4 years.
You could do it in 3, but I wanted to take my time and do it in 4.
4 years in law school.
Yeah.
So after you did 4 years in law school, now it's ready to take the bar. You ended up taking the bar exam. Past that.
That was a struggle. I'm not gonna lie, it took a few times to do it.
So when something is pushed to demand,
yeah,
to get that, then you go through the struggle and you're forced to make it through.
Absolutely.
No matter what.
No matter what. And you said it perfectly. That's exactly how I felt.
You had no choice.
I had no choice but to push through.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well said.
So you passed through.
And
then what?
Then, got to get a job.
Okay. Gotta get a job.
So
even that was a task.
That was a task.
Okay. But the big hurdle of it was already
getting licensed. That was it. I was cool at that point because people don't ask you how many times did you take the exam or whatever. Are you licensed? Yes. So now, most of these larger firms, they hire from out of the bigger schools. The Stanfords, the USCs, UCLAs, the Berkeleys, things of that sort, Hastings. So the school was reputable. It was a California bar school, meaning once you graduate from the school, you can practice law in California, as opposed to graduating from an ABA school. You can sit on a bar of any other of the state of the union. Okay, that's the difference, which is fine. I wanted to practice law here in California. That was fine. It's a reputable school, but it doesn't match up to the bigger schools. So when these law firms are taking applicants and taking candidates, they're looking at the people that have the higher grades, and they're looking at the schools where they're coming from. So it was difficult for me to land a job in a major firm. So after a year or so, just trying to put out hundreds of resumes and trying to get interviews, I just decided to hang up my own shield, sign, Law Offices of Otis Hayes, and just start going. I got my own E&O insurance, and
you created your own opportunities.
Yeah, I just created my own opportunities to start getting out there and meeting other attorneys, going to as many events as I can, just to network, shadowing people, doing a lot of appearances for other attorneys. A lot of attorneys can't be in 2 places at one time, so they need an attorney to go and make an appearance in court or something, argue a motion or do whatever. So I did a lot of appearance work. That got me out there meeting lots of different people. Eventually, I bumped into a couple of people that eventually hired me on a contract basis. So I was working for some of these attorneys on a contract basis, working on their cases, and as well as working on my own cases. I started getting clients. When I first got licensed, I put out a letter to all my friends. Of course, at this point, my Rolodex, in my phone, I've got 1,000 musicians that I know. So I sent everybody, hey, I'm a licensed attorney. I'll call me with any help you need with any entertainment transactions or whatever. And I gave them the areas of law that I work. Well, I got calls back, so I started helping my friends. And hey, Otis, man, could you check out this contract? Yeah, I got this publishing deal, but they want this and blah blah blah. Could you negotiate this for me? Sure. So it started there. So I started doing all that. Well, my friends are not only in music, they have lives, they have apartments, they have cars. So someone would call me about a landlord-tenant issue. He's getting kicked out of his apartment. Otis, help me. So, okay, sure. Let's let me give you some assistance in this wrongful eviction. Another buddy of mine's like his car. He bought a brand new car, or not brand new, it was a used car, but the engine falls out, right? So I find myself doing lemon law.
And that's why going to school, learning all law.
Oh, you have to, yeah.
It opened it all up, not just focused on one type of law.
Yeah, no, you don't focus until you start practicing. The state bar requires that you have to be proficient in enough areas of law to even be licensed.
Right.
You start focusing once the client comes and that area starts. You start working that particular area. So so that's what. So I thought I would try to force my focus in entertainment because I already knew about it. I knew copyright licensing. I knew the industry. So that I started that lane, but these other lanes opened up with lemon law and landlord-tenant issues, and quite frankly, my very first case, it was a 5-day jury trial. My client was suing the Los Angeles Community College districts for age discrimination. I was like baptism by fire. I was just thrown into it, and but I'm not doing any constitutional law right now or any discrimination cases. But that was my first case.
Okay. So you've enjoyed what it is are you happy with the decision that you've made?
Man, I'm ecstatic. I've been on cloud 9 since I passed the bar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because this is what you aimed for.
Yeah.
From something going from an idea to an actual action that's occurring now. It's a daily part of your life.
It is my life, and I love it. I'm able to I see the traction I have now and the abilities I have to help others.
Because it's one of those things that everyone needs some type of situations. Everyone needs some type of help when it comes to something that they're dealing with in their own particular life that deals with law.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're out here in the world and you're dealing with other people. Like you said, car issues, landlord issues, music issues, marriage issues, whatever the case may be. You're available for it all.
Absolutely.
That's the blessing of, like you said, you didn't know that when you got into law school, but they schooled you on that to where when things like this come about, you're able to handle them.
Yeah.
And not just be, focused on one thing, and that's the blessing of it.
And that is, and if it is an area that I don't focus on, that I know nothing about, I simply refer that person to another attorney that I know.
It's kind of like what we were speaking on. I was telling you at earlier, as far as like if someone comes to me asking for music, for some beats, or whatever, I may not have them.
Right.
That doesn't mean I should turn it away.
Right.
Let me
point them in the right direction
to get that.
Absolutely.
And it worked, and it happens. So, where do you see yourself going from here?
I want to continue working. Right now, I'm working at a firm in Glendale, with at a little boutique firm with attorney John Peterson, and it's mostly personal injury, some family law, some immigration, and it has a little bit of everything. Okay. I like working with him. I'm doing a lot of different things at the office, writing motions, arguing cases, doing discovery, and dealing with opposing counsels and dealing with clients. So it's a lot of different variety there in this office, which I like. I see myself later, building my firm, developing the law offices of Otis Hayes, they call a baby lawyer. If I
that sounds like a lawyer name.
Oh.
That sounds like a lawyer name, man.
What's that?
Otis Hayes.
Okay.
That sounds like the law offices of Otis Hayes.
Well, it is.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That sounds like a for real, like, damn, like, okay, Otis Hayes, you know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
It has a certain ring to it.
I'm glad you like the ring.
Yeah.
So that I see myself cultivating that, moving that forward, getting to the point where I can actually hire staff and get. I'm working on my own right now in my home office, but I plan to branch out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any up and coming words or words of encouragement to anybody out there that is interested in becoming a lawyer, entertainment lawyer, at that? Is there any encouraging words you could give them? Yeah,
first start out with the word entertainment. Whether it's music, film, or TV, be a fan. Don't stop being a fan and go out there and get experience with the people putting out the product. Know the music, know the film, be a fan of what these people are doing. So you're able to reach them and know what they want. It was easier for me because I'm a musician and I kind of know what my clients are looking for, what they want, what they're looking to understand. I really strongly recommend that if you're gonna get into entertainment law, really know the artist, know the material, go to the shows, hang out at the studio, go hang out where they hang out.
So they should, and also with that, understand the basics for themselves, like publishing.
That's a whole nother, that's without being said. Obviously, I mean that's they need to give that legal advice. They have to know the law. They have to know your copyright law. Know the industry, the customs and usage in the industry, the paradigms, which is constantly changing right now, thanks to technology. The music industry, simply just flipped on its face from when I was growing up. It's a totally different paradigm.
Streaming.
All that, yeah. It's a whole nother thing. Artists don't make as much revenue from their products anymore because of the streaming, because of the file sharing and all this. And you have less control of your product, and it's just flying out there. It's a wild, wild west right now. And deals are all over the place. There's no set deal. They're starting to, you got this big 360 deal that the artists are getting. The labels they're not there to make the record anymore because people make their records on their own. They're in their own studios. You yourself, you're putting beats together. You're working on your 5th album. So, so you don't need a label to do that, but you do need a label to get you out there. You do need a label to push your product.
Right.
And so basically that's what they do. They're advertising agencies, basically. They manage your project, and they will, since they're doing that, what they're going to do is get money from everything you do. 360 degrees of things that you do in your industry, they're going to take a piece of. And it's called a 360 deal. Whether it's a TV appearance, whether it's a parade, whatever, everything. They're going to dig in your pocket from whatever you do. They own your name, your likeness, period. So that's the difference today. Before, it was like the record companies get money from the records, not from you doing the Jay Leno show or, So Jimmy Fallon, no. So, but nowadays, it's just a whole other story.
So if anyone needs your assistance, how can they reach out to you?
You can email me or call my office. Give me a call at 818-921-6847. It's my office number, 818-921-6847. Or simply email me at otis.hayes.esq@gmail.com. That's how you can reach me.
Say it one more time.
Email me at otis.hayes.esq as an Esquire @gmail.com. Feel free to give me a call. I'll be glad to chat with you.
And make sure you have a budget.
Make sure you have a budget. I'm all into helping, but I do have to make a living.
You know what I'm saying? For those consultations.
Yeah, The first consultation is free.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I'll chat with you, but yes, be glad to help.
Hey, you know what, Otis, man?
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm thankful, man, that I was able to sit with you, or that
Yeah.
you sit and lounge. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? And just to be a part of the podcast. You know what I'm saying? I'm you know, it's a growing podcast.